Yeah.
Oh, good morning.
Happy. Oh my goodness, I have a butterfly on my nose. Let me change. Let me change this
So beautiful.
filter.
What good luck that is. What good luck
Yeah.
that is. Yay.
Yeah, I've actually
Hello.
been seeing a lot of butterflies this week, so maybe it is fitting. So
Ooh.
whatever. But yeah, happy Fempreneur Friday over here today, switching it up.
Can't
But
see my
yeah, how are
freckles
you?
now.
What'd you say?
Can't see my freckles now, but
Oh
funny.
yeah. Yes. Yes, resilience. We're talking
Yeah.
about resilience today and just resilience in the midst of building your brand. I feel a lot of people are brand building right now, or even just thinking about building their brands or thinking about building their company, especially just it's like the sign of the times right now. I think with COVID, I think with where just society and our culture is changing, I think a lot of people are interested in it. So hopefully this can help some people out. I guess I'll start though. This kind of popped in our heads because we were debating what we should talk about today. And then I pulled this like card from affirmations deck and it said, in fact, resilience. So I will read this card to open up. But it says, sticks and stones may break my bones, and unkind words can somehow drain every bit of joy and color from my once rosy life. But nothing can ever permanently damage the real me. I love myself, I cherish myself, and I vow to remember that I'm always camped out in the depths of myself, even when I don't feel very much like myself.
Mm,
Boom. So I think that can relate to, you know, us as individuals and who we are as individuals, but I think that can also relate to our brands sometimes, because sometimes we just don't feel like it. We don't feel like our brands, we don't feel up to it. And I think there's like an imperfect perfection to that.
yeah. Something that it reminded me of actually just right now in this moment is, and I think I have this on my Instagram too. It's just like broken crayon, still color.
I like
Um,
this is so fitting for Stuck.
yeah, actually it is. Such a good quote for stuck. Um,
Yeah, I'm gonna write that down.
yeah, so what it is just like broken crayon, still color. And um, what we're saying or going along with just like resilience in your own brand, resilience in who you are, just remembering that dang, like no matter how many times you get shut down, rejected, things didn't go the way that you planned, that actually you're still you.
Yeah.
You still got
Yep.
that there's still growth
Yep.
available. You still have an opportunity for just like being here, being alive, being who you are.
Exactly.
Um, and at the same time, not acknowledging that it like sucks.
Yeah.
Sucks. It's hard to figure out like what's the next step? What's the best next solution? Or even should I get up today or should I just like try to sleep this off?
Yeah. And like what's the hardest for me about that is that sometimes I feel like the hardest next step is if it's actually nothing. Because sometimes the that next step is like trusting how far you've come and trusting what you have built and trusting who you've built it with, and that all will align and all will fall into place. But it's like sometimes to surrender to that and to just like fortify that resilience, we have to be like, wait, you know what? Maybe like my next step is to just, accept what I've done and be thankful of how far I've come and grateful for how far I've come.
Ooh, I love that. And that sounds so much more aligned than packing on more. And just like when we're talking about resilience, I guess why we have these conversations anyway, it's like about conscious entrepreneurship and changing the way from like, pulling this lug and just like we have to be in so much of our obligation and like pushing. I was talking to my friend earlier today about like pushing against the tide.
Yeah.
Like that's so different than the resilience of just being, like remembering back who you are, surrendering to, okay, what's actually the best opportunity for me and what's actually the next step for me? Because I can get into that. Oh, one of my coaches is here too. Yeah, amazing. Um, you know, for me too, it was like getting in that overwhelm
Yeah.
and, you know, really realizing like, shoot, you know what, there's part of me that actually feels safe here. Like
Right.
it actually feels normal.
Right.
Um,
Because society makes
so
it that way.
yeah, not only that, just like I'm so used to being in overwhelm, right?
Mm-hmm.
And nothing comes from it. It actually allows me to hide.
Yeah.
It actually allows me to hide and not be in one place fully and like
Right.
get the thing that I really want to get from that thing fully and being available to
That's
it. So
that's so true. And I
mhm.
think that it's just like when you're, on the proverbial conveyor belt, and you're like forcing things. It's like you're forcing yourself almost into a corner, or almost into like this box, this unrealistic box that society has made, for you to fit into. And I
Yeah.
feel like the more that you push and force and just like, back yourself into almost a corner, it's like it's more difficult to become resilient, I think, and to like get back up again. Whereas when you let things flow, it's like, well, that didn't work, but I have faith in what's next. Or that didn't work, but maybe I'll get another like inspired, aligned action to do.
Right. That's so funny because we're talking about like aligned action and actually it's funny that Jackie's here because you know, one of the things that we were talking about this week was about, you know, when I'm in the overwhelm or also just like what's the next best step was actually just like maybe it is to rest, you know. And another thing that I was kind of toying with was like never getting to that, right? And then we can be in that for like weeks, you know, months because like we just never get the refuel or the thing that we need.
Right.
And how can we be resilient in our business without
Right.
actually replenished?
Right. Yeah.
It's something that I actually have to intentionally practice.
Mm-hmm.
You
I
know,
mean,
it's just,
because it's not easy. It's not easy at all.
yeah,
And I was thinking like, well, because I just didn't, for whatever reason, I just didn't sleep well last night. But instead of just like, taking melatonin or, just doing something to knock me out, I was like, let me just, kind of like sit through this and see what comes up. And I think just like, and that's, I think, similar to taking that time to really just like rest and like honor your own body, your own mind, your own thoughts. And so I felt like I really just needed to like process some things and really just like, and I was kind of avoiding it by just making myself like go to sleep, when there were some things I just needed to like work through and process and navigate, which can ultimately bring you to your next, aligned, inspired action. But I think sometimes, yeah, that next aligned, inspired action could be just like to meditate, to rest, to pray, to whatever it is, and
and you
society
know,
has just taught
actually
us.
as you're saying this, it's
Yeah.
just reminding me that anything that we choose to do, whether it's like working or resting, like
Yeah.
there's two places that it's coming from and really like noticing the energy as to where it's coming from. Because like resting, we can do that to avoid our day, or actually we can do that to be replenished, right?
Yeah, that's so
And then
true.
also
That's so
same
true.
with our work. Like I can work so hard to be busy, to be important, to be all of these things,
Yeah.
but like how is that aligned? Like the other opportunities like inspired action and like be working and being in the energy of that.
Right.
So we can do those two things actually so different with our energy being different. So really like noticing where that's coming from.
Right. Well, because when you're working out of that kind of energy, it's like you're in flow versus in force. Like
Yeah.
you're force versus flow. Wow, that should have been our topic.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
but I think that it's like a really hard thing to do, to like pull yourself out of the norm or what everyone else is doing, to really like focus in on what's best for you, what's best for your brand, what's best for your business. And I found a quote. There was like this quote that I found earlier this week about it. Oh, there it is. Okay. So it says,
Action. Yes.
yeah, to do nothing is the hardest job of all, and it will take every ounce of energy that you have. To be impartial is not natural, not human. So I think that it's just like, and actually like one of the queens of England said that. But I think that, so that's really profound, and it's just like sometimes, you know, the best course of action is to chill out, you know, until you have clarity, until you have that vision. And sometimes that acquiring that next vision might take that rest, they might take that nap, you know. But I think it's all about listening to your intuition and having that like resilience to just like, you know, get back up, to listen to yourself, to try things differently, to, you know, try new things. But yeah.
One thing that came up for me this week too is because some of you know that I'm doing a 365-day live challenge on Facebook.
Which I so
It's
admire because I
going
fell
live,
off.
and it's like I've hit like 100 and something days now. Yeah, crazy.
Wow.
But for the last couple of days, and I think I've just been feeling this for the last couple of weeks anyway, just I've been feeling like nothing. Like I show up and I actually don't know what to say. I like feel like I ran out of things to say, and I was like, wow, okay, like yesterday I finally came back on, and what I realized is a couple things, like having that board, like having that challenge or whatever it is against me, it's just like actually allows me to see something. And it's like I'm finally coming up to the fear of, I don't know what to say. It's not important. Like, what am I even doing? All of those things. And like,
Yeah.
it was actually cool to come up against and just be like, whoa, actually, you know what? I don't know, you know, like, and then being so fearful of like, how do people perceive me and be perceived? I don't know. And I don't, and then also what's behind that? You know, it's like something, that's the thing that takes me out. Like, that's the thing that takes me out.
Yeah, no, I think that
Show
that's the
up
thing
and
that
be
takes
like,
most people.
okay, that's the thing that takes me out, but I'm still here the next day. And
Yeah.
it was great. So I think that as entrepreneurs and, you know, whatever goals that we're trying to reach or the goals that we have for ourselves, like to see ourselves against that thing is actually what's bringing us the growth.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. Even if when it doesn't feel like it some
Right.
days, you know?
And it
Because
sucks. Like I said, I was like, it sucks.
I was
It's
thinking
hard.
about it to
But
that same thing, like this morning, just because I like just didn't get much sleep and, you know, I was really tired and I was like, and I was dragging. It's not like I never don't feel like doing this because I do believe that like consistency is super important. And like the more that we do this, it's like we're building. And, you know, no matter, obviously, no matter how far we go or where we end up, we're going to like, I think value these in looking back at them and seeing our own growth and seeing how far we've come. And so I really think that they're important, but some days I'm just like, I don't, you know, like, I don't know. I don't really feel like showing up. But I think that it's really powerful that we have like each other, because some days you're more like, you know, on it,
yeah,
let me call you first thing. Some days I'm more on it, let me call you first thing. But when you're doing it by yourself, it's like, I mean, we all have to face things ourselves. Like we all have to navigate through things ourselves, because that's part of like the spiritual journey. That's part of like the journey of being an entrepreneur. It's part of your strength, acquiring strength. But like, yeah, it's an interesting challenge. And I mean, I'm really proud of you, because like I tried to do it with drawing for a couple days. Well, I did it for like a week or two, but it was starting to like drain me, I feel like. And I guess drawing's a bit, I mean, it's kind of like it's a weird energy. It's like a different kind of energy. So I realized I had to kind of go within more and kind of work with my energy and figure out like, how can I do this in a way that it doesn't like drain me, or it's not, you know,
yeah.
I'm not feeling that way each time. But I think that that's another aspect of being resilient also, just like figuring out ways how to maneuver around things.
Yeah. Or we talked about like kind of what we thought our topic was going to be was like a kind of about authenticity and just like being who you are. And I think more of it's about just like what we're talking about too, is just like the alignment of it, right? Like,
yeah,
even good things can be bad for us at the wrong time.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, it's a lot about timing too, because I think that like, I think sometimes you can be like, you can have faced your, you know, mental demons or your negative self-talk, or maybe you've conquered all these, you know, different tiers of success, but maybe the timing just still isn't quite right for you. And it's like, I don't think that that's something that you can necessarily like force or push into being, because like, you know, divine timing is everything also.
Right.
And I think sometimes we have to surrender to just like not having that control over everything, and then we will gain more, you know. But that's much easier said than done.
Yeah, you know, and you know what? That's what we're talking about. Align with when things just don't go the way that we expected, and it can
Mm-hmm.
so, man, so disappointing. Like, I started out this year doing a group program with one of my really good friends, a healer. Our program was amazing, but we didn't continue to the next level. And um, actually, it was really great that we didn't, because now we realize like, oh wow, we were like still learning each other, and also like our gifts and what we tied to our next level like gift was not really what we wanted to share. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
like fine if we did, like it would have been fine, but not like us, not like
Right.
real. And that's something we may revisit again, but I think it would be like totally different. And it was just like, oh my gosh, what if we did do that and our energies would have been tied to that thing for 6 months,
Right.
and it
Right.
would
And
be so out of line with what we really wanted to bring to the world. And actually, like I said, it would have been good, you know, because we knew that we could have done it. But
yeah,
this was just so, like, such on a different level. And like the expansion that we've had, like, separately has been so amazing. And we still talk every day.
that's
And,
great.
you know, are still growing in so many ways that way too. So I think that you're right, totally about timing. And even when I think about, I know I bring this up a lot to my old business partner.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
um, you know, just there was so many things that went wrong in that relationship, and
With
still
me
to
too.
clean up.
My
But
past business partners.
yeah, and then you talked about some of your recent changes in your business.
Yep.
But what I realized is like it was actually the best thing for both of us. It
Yep.
was such the best thing for both of us, for our growth, for our own expansion, and for the things that we want to call into our lives. And it just wasn't time for us to continue together. And
Yeah. And I think, you know, like as we each grow and evolve into each new level of our lives, like, you know, we change and we can go different directions. But I think the key is to realize and be like that's okay. Like it's okay not to, you know, always it's okay to break apart from, you know, the path that you once had, because you've elevated or because you've grown or because your mind has expanded or because you want something else, you know. And I think that the only time I've experienced struggle with that in business is really like when people have been just like scared to say that, you know, like scared to
mm,
just like
to like
confront
really
that.
acknowledge it, being like authentic with themselves, and then
Yeah.
up with, you know, who they're working with. Yeah.
Right. Right. And because I mean, I don't know, like, I think because I'm so passionate, because I think, you know, both my companies are like my baby. Like, I think people can be like, oh, well, I don't know, like, I don't want to tell her, I don't want to do this or that. But to me, it's just like, that's change, and life is change, and it's growth, and life is growth. And like, I think that, you know, it's important to definitely always like give thanks for everyone who has been a part of your path and has like helped elevate your business or your next level of growth. But yeah, I think it's okay for people to go their own ways. Okay for new things to happen, new people to enter, like new refreshed energy to enter, because like now, you know, I really have a just a team that is very passionate and very aligned and really does believe in the vision of Stuck really strongly. And I think that everyone else who's been a part of the journey has added to that vision completely. But I think that, you know, as you grow, like things shift and change, and like and the vision changes too, and that's okay. And that's resiliency.
Right. I love that you talked about just being authentic to yourself, to the people around you. And yeah, it's not easy. Oh, this is the last point. This is the thing that I was going to say. Um, Listening to, of course, the law of attraction stuff, but just remembering that the contrast, or like the thing that comes against you, actually gives birth to new desires. Like that's actually what gives birth to
I
a
was
lot of,
thinking about that last night
yeah,
when I couldn't sleep.
like
I was just like, thought about that.
yeah, when it doesn't work or when things fall apart, that's when the
It
brilliance of like the
breaks
new,
through.
yeah, gets birthed. And to remember that, because man, sometimes we can't see that yet, but it's just that small wanting of like the thing and the next thing and the next level that helps us like expand. And then
Right.
and then there's a lot of contrast because like you've expanded to this new level, but you feel like the things don't fit you anymore.
Yeah. It's just
And then
uncomfortable.
it's like actually there's no going back. There's like
Mm-hmm.
when these things don't fit anymore, it's because like it's time, you know?
Yep.
And
Yep.
and yeah, that can be difficult to sit with, but
Yep.
there's
But
so
I
much
think you have
more.
to sit with it. That's a
Yeah,
thing. Like, and that's what I took the time to do, because I think you just have to sit with things to navigate through them and to like strengthen that resiliency within you. And, but yeah, I think that like often when we have like, you know, struggles or hard times or like dark nights of the soul or whatever, it really does feel like, oh, like, you know, like we're dying, or like, oh, I don't know what's next, or I don't know this or that. But I think that when we get to those places and we have the knowledge that like, okay, this is happening because something is trying to break through me. Something bigger is trying to come through me right now, and I don't know what that is, but I know that that's true. You know, like when you know these higher truths, it makes it easier to navigate and to be resilient. You know.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think that's it.
Like complete. No.
Yes. My name is Brett, and I am complete.
Yeah. And I get you. Like sometimes I get the feeling of like, oh, I don't know, like there should be show up all this stuff, but I'm so happy that we're navigating this together, and also that can take like you know change different forms,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's something that is great to like bring at the forefront and talk about, and you know, in life,
Yep.
you know, like how to have it always be like aligned with who you are, what you're doing, and all of that. So with
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, the last thing I'll say is like
Yeah.
ending things powerfully.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
know, I love the energy. Aw, thank you. Um, yeah, we were talking about completion a lot and just like how we can complete things and also just like take the power from it. Cause like in our world, like everything, oh, I know one of my coaches like when you start a relationship, it's like, oh, so exciting. And
Right.
so people want to put it on Facebook and Instagram and like I have a new relationship, but like the endings are so secretive. Like the
Yeah.
pictures come down and
Yeah.
what did that person do? Like it always is just so bad. But like how can we like make endings like so much more powerful and
Right. Because they don't have to be. Like, endings aren't like bad things necessarily, and shifting and moving. And even if you have to, like, you know, move on from people or not necessarily have those same people in your lives anymore, like, that doesn't have to be a bad thing either.
right.
But I think like society makes it seem bad, or like Instagram culture, or like, you know, social media culture. But yeah, in my mind, I never think that. But I think that you can get wrapped up in that thought cycle of
Yeah,
it being bad, because society kind of trains us to think that way.
yeah. It's a conditioning. But then
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like how can we just if we can move through those things, we can just like move through anything really, you know?
That's so
So,
true.
yeah.
That's so true. And I think like the hardest thing is moving through it when you really can't see the big picture, or when you really can't see what's next, and having resilience when you really cannot see, you know, like what is my next way, or what is how am I to move next.
Yeah.
And like, but that's the thing that gets you ultimately to your next level. I think that faith in
Yeah.
that.
And also that space, right? Like there's a space when something changes, when something ends, when something moves, when something's not available, when you get a
Yeah.
no, when you get rejected, it's redirection.
Yeah, that's so true.
Like and an opening for something to show up. So
Something new to
that's
come
out of
in.
all about like yeah. So things we talked about is just like resilience and just like keep on showing up, but showing up authentically, checking in with yourself, being aligned before anything else.
Yep.
And knowing that, yeah, what did I say? Even good things can be bad for you at the wrong timing.
Yep.
So, you know,
Yep.
rest can be rest to avoid your day, or rest can be to replenish your body. You
Right.
know, work can be like helping you move forward and going to doing all the things you want to do, or work can actually help you avoid everything else that's going on in your life. So just checking into your own energy of how you're doing things, how you're moving through things. And that's the difference between whether you can go on to the next step. Like, are you going to be replenished? Are you going to still be there? Are you going to burn out and
Right.
still come alive? And the thing is, we always have a new day.
Yes.
You
That's,
can
I
yesterday,
literally woke up being
but
like, you know
expect
what?
that yourself today.
It's a new day. It's a new beginning. It's a new dawn. Like, you know, and it really is. And it's always darkest before the dawn, you know? And I think that that's like a key thing to just remind yourself of. And it's also just like self check-ins are so key too, you know, like Step Design's tagline is self-love first, and it's really just like, you know, about like just making sure that you are okay and that your cup is full, you know, before pouring in two other cups, and just really, you know, making sure you're checking in there and making sure you're good and aligned first. So yeah.
All right, we'll have an amazing week.
Yes. And what do we have going on? What do you have going on with Exalter?
Um, with Exalter, I have a podcast coming up that I'm going to be on next week. And just some new women in my world that I'm excited about meeting and talking to this week. I still have a couple of opportunities for one-on-one coaching with me, and just walking with women to, I always say regain your power, but really like you never lost it. So just like
remember
your power. And then that's what's part of Exalted and Exalter. It's just like actually bringing what's inside outwardly, and being able to radiate who you really are and attract the right things to you. And changing the pain and really turning it into purpose. So I'm excited about doing that. And of course, if you have want any information about that, feel free to DM me. And yeah, that's what's kind of going on with Exalter right now. Also trying to gear up towards like finally having a book, an actual book launch.
Yeah. I mean, it's COVID, so, you know, it's okay.
So that's what's going on.
Well, yay. And we're still campaigning. We are on the campaign trail, so check that out. Link in bio. And yeah, we have a podcast too.
Tell us more about that. Like,
oh,
yes. Guys campaigning for.
We are campaigning for iFund Women, well, on the iFund Women platform, I should say. And our campaign is Self-Love Heals and Art Saves Lives, because that is a truth. And we're raising money for more girls of color to have access to the arts, because right now in America and all over the world, it's just very, very hard for girls of color, especially underserved girls, to have any inclusion in the art world, like at all. And just in my life, I think I'm just a real advocate for just inclusion in everything. I just do not like the thought of exclusion, and I don't like just injustice. So we are fighting back, and we're working with a school in Ghana right now to get them more funding. So check it out, and support both of our companies because they're amazing.
We'll love that. So yeah, what actually you can do is like go and to your link, you can donate, right? You can donate directly, and also any of the products that she has, which is like, do you love yourself, self-love first. There's a lot of shirts, t-shirts, there's artwork, and all of that goes into supplying the nonprofit, which is helping helping girls get access to art supplies, art funding, artwork, art teachings, right? So like it's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that was a great pitch.
The link, and just like anything makes a difference of just like, you know, putting a donation down, and it goes so much further beyond even here internationally where they're serving. So yeah, go ahead and check that out. And
and when we give, we receive, and when we invest in ourselves, we also receive. So you can invest in yourself by doing some Exalter courses. You can give to Stuck and receive, and it's all a cycle. So yeah,
amazing. Okay, well, have a great rest of the day
and a great weekend.
Living life, and I will definitely be supporting. Oh, that is so sweet. Thank you. today.
Thank you.
Um,
I don't know
and
why I can't
not
see
today. You
them.
know, like actually, without your energies here, there is no live. So, really appreciate you guys being here and being here every week. So every week we do a conscious entrepreneurship talk every Friday. So either on our personal pages, and actually we've been really, you know, checking into our community. So we might be coming back here on our own community. So Exalted Women and also Stuck Designs. You can find us here next week Friday, and we'll have another conscious entrepreneurship conversation. All right. Talk
Yes.
to you guys later.
All right. Have a great day,
Bye.
everybody. Bye.